to say thank you to our sponsor, Sal Baltimore, a premium watch company that is proudly designed and assembled in Baltimore, Maryland, my home state. With attention to detail and quality in every design that pays tribute to the city of Baltimore and its people. A watch you can be proud to wear every day. I myself own the Founders Edition and love to show it off. Go check them out at salbaltimore.com. Move on to our next movie, or I should say preview. It's the now buzz that's out there from the remake of the original and the book Dune. It's going to be one of those cult classics, so let's get into it.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
I'll kill him. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
And that is the Dune trailer for 2020. Being that I am one of those people who love the original movie, and this is the first time for me to see this trailer, I'm very happy that it seems from the trailer that they're keeping with the story and the way that it was run, not only in the book, but in the first movie. The characters look like they're on point for all of the actors that are of today, fitting into the positions that they are of the characters of old. It just looks like, to me, that this preview is the cleaning up of what the 1980s movie was, with sharper characters, sharper visuals, sharper costumes, technical aspects of it, even the cinematography. Even though it's now updated, it just seems like it literally is like someone took the original movie that made and they made it that much better. They just cleaned it up. They didn't do anything overdone compared to what it was before. The use of the characters that they've got going, just Jason Momoa being in this movie, looks like he's going to be phenomenal. I'm not exactly sure which character he's playing from this preview, but I would love to see how this is going to go. With that, I'm going to flip it over to Rebekah. Why don't you give us your opinion about this movie?
So I saw Dune, the 1984 version, a few years ago. Honestly, I hated it. I thought it was really terrible. I didn't really get the story, even though I was watching it carefully. Like, I just didn't understand the main plot points, and I did not find it compelling. And frankly, I can't stand anything Kyle MacLachlan is in, period. So it was a hard sell for me, and I was like, ugh. But I'm a big reader, and I've been told for years one of the best like books ever written, that it is like to the Lord of the, like what the Lord of the Rings is to fantasy, Dune is to science fiction. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll read it someday. But honestly, this trailer had me so excited for the story for the first time ever. I really love the visuals. The cinematography is outstanding. The cast that they've chosen are really either up and coming, like for like today's generation is also a huge draw in this film. So the casting is on point, and it looks beautiful and dynamic and exciting and action filled. And it actually made me so excited that I went out and bought the book. So I'm gonna dig into that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the movie based on this room.
Okay, Josh, why don't you tell us your opinion on it?
You talk about Jason Momoa, and you're like, oh yeah, I saw him in this, and was like, oh no, because to me he plays the same like character, like Aquaman, like every character he plays Jason Momoa. So I'm vastly hoping that they get him out of that Moana character for once. So I'll be honest with you. For me, this looks like just an epic movie. But my fears in this are that, is this going to be one of those things that has a runtime of like 100 minutes and they try to cram all this great storytelling into such a short period of time? Or are they going to really spend the time? And because it looks like there is a lot of action, but through the trailer, it seems like there is just like this immense story that needs to be told. And I think my biggest fear is with the commercialism of movies, they have a tendency to make them shorter and shorter. Are they going to give this the runtime that it deserves? And the second part of that is this part one? Because they have a tendency in them, the motion picture industry right now is like, oh, this is something that's going to be great. This is already, 6 books. Let's milk this bad boy, Lord of the Rings style, and we're going to see this unfold over the next 12 years. And I think that those are my biggest fears in watching the trailer are they going to give this story the time it deserves? And if they do, is it going to be something that we're just going to have to wait a decade to see unfold? And I say this scene that I know I saw Dune sometime when I was a kid, but like I'm not really familiar with the story. The visuals itself from the movie, the understanding that there's this great warring conflict. It looks like it has something to be epic, and I'm just really curious as to how they let it unfold. And with the cast of characters, I feel like they got like the best B characters out there. And then once again, you drop in like, okay, so like Dave Bautista, he's lovable. People really gravitate towards him.
Look, that's not what's important.
Are they going to get him out of the mold of being Dave Bautista in movies? The same thing with Jason Momoa. I saw that. And for me, like I don't know anything he's been in where he gives a great performance. So those are like my fear factors for it. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to just seeing a great story, which speaks to the director, because when I saw it, I wasn't familiar with I think Daniel Villeneuve or something like that as a director's name, but he did Sicario, he did Arrival, and both of those movies, like Arrival was just, it was paced really well, the story was told great. Sicario, you know, when the story ended, it ended. And it didn't have this nice wrapped up feeling, but I feel like that was great because he still paced that movie to where it was a really good story. So I'm looking
I completely agree with you that on the pacing of how this movie needs to go, because the director, in the pacing of his previous two movies that you mentioned, he has the pace that this movie does have, because on tradition, being the original time this was done and then recreated again, Dune is a movie that is over the 2 hour mark and almost to the 4-6 hour mark for them to do one movie. And if they keep with the tradition, that is my fear, because a lot of people, unlike myself, they can't last watching one movie for over 2 hours. They get tired of it and they're like, nah, it's no good because it was too long. But this is one of those movies with an intense, epic story that needs that time, like you said, to be played out over a certain amount of time. I hope they don't go to the whole Lord of the Rings level with it, with chopping it up in segments like that. I hope they stick with the tradition of just make it a little bit longer to fit it just right. But I want you to continue on with your thought and keep that going. I just want to interject that before we went into anything else.
No, and that's great because me not being familiar with the story already told, you know, I was just like Rebekah, you know, it makes me want to go buy the books. Well, I was like, oh, let me go buy the book Dune. And then it was like, oh, it's 6 books. And I was like, oh shit, is this going to be like, how are they going to tell all this? Like, and I hate to say this and I, you know, bring up the Game of Thrones. Like, are you guys going to like fuck the ending on this?
Shame.
I'm sorry, pardon my language, but like, are you guys going to like totally boof this and deprive us of a good story? You know, but once again, it at least has that driving force of great visuals, great actors, this tone and this. And once I found out who the director, what he had done, super excited, you know? So I just hope they make movies for the right viewer. Does that make sense? Like someone who's going to appreciate something epic.
It totally makes sense, the direction that you're saying on that. It is one of those stories that needs to be told over a long period of time and not just ended bad or do directorial creativism to change what it is from the story. This is one of those books that when it did go to film, it wasn't augmented to fit the Hollywood narrative and more towards the book. Rebekah, do you have anything else to add to this before we go any further?
Yeah, I was going to say it is 6 books, but I think this movie is just the first book. And unlike Game of Thrones, the author finished the series and then his son actually kept going. So George R.R. Martin is the one who fucked us on that ending.
Shame.
And Denis Villeneuve is the director. He also directed Blade Runner 2049, which was really an amazing continuation of the Blade Runner movies. He handled the material well, which tells me he takes a movie from the 80s that's already like a cult classic, a sci-fi classic, and he turns it into something modern and cool. So I'm super excited to see what he does with this.
Great. That is great. With that, I'm going to let you, Rebekah, lead off with the grading on this. Tell us what you feel about this preview for Dune.
I'm going to give this review 4.5 stars. It's really compelling to me as a preview. I mean, we don't know what the movie will do yet, but the preview made me want to read the books and go see the movie, which as a former Dune hater, kind of a big deal. And I would say the Rotten Tomatoes score, I'm going to estimate that it's going to be completely fresh in the 90% range. And then where I want to go see it, I'm a big fan. So if I can, this is one I think you need to experience in like full IMAX glory, and so that's what I'm hoping to go see it in theater any weekend, and I'm hoping for an IMAX experience for that, because I think you need to see it as like spectacle that it's meant to be, like a big epic.
Roger that. Josh, go ahead and give us your rundown on the grades for Dune.
All right, so like trailer wise, I mean it's a 5. You know, it's everything. Like I want to go see this movie. It has me very intrigued in the story, like the everything from the visuals to the actors to the story. You know, like you want to see how to spend, you know, $400 million. Like that's a preview of how to spend $400 million. You know, as far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, you know, I think if done really well, you know, with all the expectations, I think it's something that like maybe the critics will give that 90%, but I feel like if it really is, and maybe this is a pessimist in me, but if it really is a high intellectual movie that is paced slower for effect and for storytelling, I feel like you're going to have people being like, well, why wasn't Jason Momoa shirtless when he was battling? You know, I really hope that it's, you know, and having faith in what the director's done previously and not really knowing the material, you know, I'm expecting to go in and get blown away, and I want to say it's going to be like a 95. I was trying to watch the preview outside, and it was so hard to watch it because it was so dark, you know. You know, brightness all the way up on my phone. I was still having to squint into the screen. You know, I want to see this in IMAX as big as you can. You know, I want to see and appreciate all the visuals. I want to appreciate all the sound to it. So, yeah, I really hope they don't, you know, I'm glad the books are finished. I'm glad the books are finished. I'm glad that this is something that I can get excited about and know that there's an ending to.
My grades on this being that I am one of the Dune loyalists that love the movie, love the book, love to see this do well. I am going to say it's going to get a 5 and just be like one of those phenomenal blockbusters of 2020. It's something that when I heard it came up, I was just like, excuse me? What? I need to see this movie. I need to see it now. Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, I think the problem is that the loyalists will love it. People who have not seen it and are not the intellectual or can deal with a long pace of a movie or the deep dramatic essence that's going to be put into this movie, that they're going to get bored of it. They're going to want to see more action. They're going to want to see more shit stuff. And it's not that type of movie. Rotten Tomatoes, to be safe, I'm going to say it's going to get like an 85% to basically be in that, like, it's a good movie, but it's not a huge blockbuster because of all the lowbrow people who don't get what they're trying to say. When it comes to seeing it, yeah, I'm definitely seeing it in the movie theater. Am I seeing it opening night? Maybe. More towards yes than no. I'm thinking yes. IMAX, probably. 3D, if possibly. So I'm going to say opening night IMAX. I'm just going to say IMAX for right now. And basically close it out and move on from there.